One of the most remembered scenes of the first movie of the Fast and the Furious saga is the one in which we can see Dominic Toretto's prized Dodge Charger facing Brian O'Connor's famous Toyota Supra on the quarter mile. Toretto's Dodge Charger is a 70s model. It first appears in the garage scene along with Brian O'Connor. Toretto says that he built it himself along with his father when he was young, and after its dark past, he treasures it like the jewel it is. Brian's 1994 Toyota Supra, on the other hand, is a complete restoration of a burned-out Supra. Toretto's team invested about $15,000 and a lot of time to make it as good as new again. And not only that, but also with a long list of modifications, both aesthetic and mechanical. The reality is that in the movies, they don't use only one vehicle. Instead, they have one main vehicle, and from this one, several replicas are usually made to record both stunts and other types of scenes. It is a fact that all the Chargers used in the moving scenes did not really have that powerful 900 horsepower engine, and that's why we're first going to look at the performance and behavior of these other vehicles when they leave the factory. The 70s Dodge Charger came with several engine options. Since you could choose between different V8s, ranging from 5.2 to 7.2 liters of displacement, the most powerful being the 7-liter V8 that produced 425 horsepower. Taking this into account and considering the vehicle's weight of about 1,800 kilograms, we can calculate that it would do a quarter mile in about 12.3 seconds, and that its final speed would be 109 miles per hour. With the 5.2-liter V8 and 230 horsepower, it would get a quarter mile in 15 seconds and a final speed of 89 miles per hour. I make the distinction between these extremes since it is impossible to know what engine the Charger or the Chargers used in the filming had in those scenes. On the other hand, for the Supra, we have two options. It's 2JZ twin turbo, or naturally aspirated. If we choose the twin-turbo system, as was the main Supra used in the shoot before the modifications, we would be talking about an engine with 330 horsepower, capable of propelling the vehicles from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.4 seconds. For the quarter mile, 12.8 seconds are estimated, as well as a final speed of 104 miles per hour. If we consider the naturally aspirated engine of 220 horsepower, as a replica of the main vehicle had, we can estimate a quarter mile in 14.1 seconds and a final speed of 96 miles per hour. If we take into account all possible combinations, there wouldn't always be a clear winner. However, considering the most powerful versions of both vehicles, the winner would be the Charger. Let's then discuss the actual modifications and performance of these cars, considering the main vehicles now. The Dodge Charger, equipped with a huge modified 8.6-liter supercharged Hemi engine, produced about 900 horsepower. But there were other special things about this car. It was prepared for drag races. It had suspension and tires designed for racing, which undoubtedly gave it a certain advantage. There is no doubt that one of the most important things in acceleration is grip. On the Supra's side, it was equipped with the 2JZ, but once modified, it no longer had the twin turbos, but a huge T66 turbo. Among the long list of mechanical modifications, we can find a downpipe, an intercooler, a modified exhaust system, an oil cooler, a racing clutch, and much more. The power of this vehicle is something to discuss. Since the two times the owner tested it, the tests yielded 569 and 574 horsepower, but nevertheless, he has stated that it could have reached 650 horsepower at its best. In addition, we must not forget that within the huge list of modifications with which it counts, we also find a nitrous oxide system. This could have made the Supra reach between 750 and 800 horsepower at times. Another advantage of the Charger is that it has undergone a huge weight reduction, logically removing everything unnecessary for the driver. It is then estimated that the vehicle weighs about 1,640 kilograms. Adding this to its 900 horsepower, we can estimate about 9.22 seconds and a final speed of 144 miles per hour for the quarter mile. The Supra didn't have many advantages. Since it had no modifications for weight reduction, it also had a heavy audio system. It's estimated that this vehicle weighed about 1,800 kilograms. We take into account the 800 horsepower at most with the nitrous oxide system, and we can estimate the quarter mile at about 9.7 seconds, and a final speed of about 137 miles per hour. Going over the ideas that the Charger had special tires for grip, and that the Supra had tires not very suitable for these competitions, we can assume without a doubt that the race would have been won by the Charger, and by quite a lot. In addition, to contrast this information, the owner of the car himself at that time, Craig Lieberman, states that the people who at that time had Supras with T66 turbos did not even reach the numbers just mentioned for this one. They were doing the quarter mile in about 10.6 seconds, and with a final speed of 135 miles per hour. And at best, with all the weight reduction possible, they were pushed to figures of 9.8 seconds. However, the latter were more similar in terms of preparation of the Charger than to the Supra of the film. And if the video isn't finished yet, it's because there is a but to this too ideal situation. And not for its own sake, but because the producers of the film themselves decided that Toretto's Charger would suffer a mechanical failure during the race. Taking into account the above analysis, we could say that this is the cause, thanks to which the Supra was able to keep up with the Dodge for those 400 meters. However, Craig Lieberman, the film's technical advisor, points out that what we can see in the scene is one of the connecting rods breaking and flying out of the block, which would have caused the engine to stop running. Although in good Hollywood style, Toretto simply shifts gears and keeps accelerating. If this scene were true to mechanical reality, the Supra would have won. The last analysis could be made by taking a closer look at the film. If we get picky and look at the scene frame by frame, at the moment in which the vehicles fall to the ground again, we could say that the Supra touches the ground first, and therefore, it would have won. This last idea, however, may not make much sense, since once again, not only do we have to take into account that the producers wanted to achieve equality between the two, and therefore, this difference could be unintentional, but we are relying on the movie to predict the race, when previously, we saw that if this was realistic, the Charger would have never even completed the quarter mile. We close this video saying that with the ideal conditions of both modified vehicles, the winner would be the Dodge Charger, and without margin for error.